Breaking news from Calabasas, California. NBA legend Kobe Bryant was killed in a helicopter crash just before 10 a.m. Pacific time. At least 4 other people were in the helicopter. None on board survived. It was believed Bryant was heading to Staples Center in his personal helicopter when it crashed. Kobe Bryant played his entire 20-year career with the Los Angeles Lakers, winning 5 NBA championships. As an all-time great, Bryant, an 18-time All-Star, a 15-time member of the All-NBA team, and he won the league's most valuable player in 2008. Kobe Bryant, also a 2-time Olympic gold medalist as part of USA men's basketball in 2008 and 2012. Kobe also earned an Oscar for Best Animated Short. Kobe Bryant was 41 years old.
With that, we welcome in Tim Doyle to offer his thoughts. Tim, obviously devastating news coming down with the passing of Kobe Bryant. Hard to process, but as you do process this news, what are the first ideas that come to mind when you think of Kobe?
You know, I think you're going to remember where you were. You know, and growing up in New York, I know where I was during 9/11, and from a sports standpoint, I know where I was when Magic announced that he was no longer going to be playing for the Lakers because of the HIV virus. Like, I know exactly where I was. And, you know, hearing this today at my daughter's 3rd birthday party, I'm just like in total disbelief. And it being a Sunday and me being Catholic, I had gone to church today. And I took away from what the priest said that just don't know where your time is going to be up. And, you know, I glanced at my family and walked out of church and didn't think anything of it, and then literally an hour or 2 later, you have a moment like this, and it's just really puts in perspective what's important. And, you know, I grew up on the East Coast, but was familiar with Kobe from the 2001 ABCD camp where he came and spoke when I was with LeBron and Lenny Cook, and obviously he was one of the great players in the history of basketball, but now as a dad and a father of 2, just feel absolutely awful for his family, his extended family, and just what a horrible, horrible day.
Obviously, there's the public Kobe Bryant and the private Kobe Bryant. Most of us know him through the public persona of his profession as an NBA player and the fact that he becomes somebody that you and fans idolized in the NBA. What did Kobe Bryant mean to the NBA if we talk about public Kobe Bryant?
I think he's the last of the Mohicans, Eric. Meaning, he didn't get along with everybody. He was okay with not being loved. You know, he was right before the Twitter, Instagram era, which he has now embraced. And, you know, I saw his tweet to LeBron after LeBron passed him up, and he had 13 million followers. But he was a little bit before that era, and he was okay that when he was in between the lines, if the other 5 guys or 13 guys in that roster hated him, he liked that. And I remember growing up and being like, he kind of rubs me the wrong way. He's kind of arrogant. But no matter what you thought of him, you always respected him as an athlete. And I remember writing papers on what he went through in 2003 when I was at Northwestern about his experiences in Colorado. And that was a tumultuous time in his career and what people perceived him as off the floor. But he was always one of those guys that was so self-confident that it rubbed off as arrogance, but there was a respect level he had for him because he wanted to win no matter what. And I just feel like that's the last of the Mohicans. When I look at Steph Curry, or Kevin Durant, or Harden, I don't see that instinct that Kobe's going to be known for forever, that he wanted to win so badly that he chased Shaq out of town. After winning 3 championships, they couldn't coexist together. And I think what cements him as one of the all-time greats in the NBA is when he won 2 more championships without Shaq to kind of prove, you know, that he could do it without, you know, one of the greats of all time as well. So that's what I'm going to remember. And maybe that's a little crass to talk like that, but a lot of people did not like him when he played, and he was okay with that because he was such a fierce competitor. All that mattered to him was going out there and being the best and winning.
Few have taken the court with the same sort of passion and competitiveness that Kobe Bryant did. You mentioned your experiences coming up at that ABCD camp. As a player, growing up, watching Kobe Bryant and the competitiveness and the confidence that he took the court with, what did he mean to you as a young man trying to calculate his game?
I had a very awkward moment with Kobe, and it was at the 2001 ABCD camp. And at that camp, Lenny Cook, who you may have never heard of, was the guy. And there was this other guy, LeBron James, who was below the radar. Anyway, LeBron has this great camp, and he really got his name because he outplayed Lenny Cook. But I was sitting right behind it, Lenny Cook, and he turned to Kobe Bryant. He said, "I could beat you one-on-one." And the look that came over Kobe's face was one of those that you were like, and he just told me, he goes, "No, you can't. And if you want to go out there right now, we can go play right now." And I was like, whoa, this just escalated. And that's just how competitive he was. That was my only small interaction. I never got to the big stage, the grand stage of the NBA, but I kind of ran in those circles. And even in that moment, Joe, you were like, oh, this all of a sudden got real serious. He was just such a fierce competitor, and I think that's missing from the game. And his dad was an NBA player, and he did have that throwback mentality that I don't think we're going to see anymore in sports. And it's really because the money has gotten so out of hand, and building your brand has gotten so out of hand, and making fake Twitter accounts to respond to trolls has gotten so out of hand. So that's why I think he's one of the last guys that laid it all on the line. And he would have played for free because that's how much he had a love for basketball and obviously a love for his family. And this is just a day as a sports fan you'll never forget where you were.
What is the basketball image or moment that comes to mind first when you think of Kobe Bryant, Tim?
That's a great question because for me, I think the climax basketball-wise was the alley-oop to Shaq. And that was a game they were losing to the Trailblazers, and it was like, oh, here we go again. Like, Lakers aren't going to get over the hump. Like, these two great talents can't play well together. Harris ran a comeback, the alley-oop, Kobe to Shaq. Shaq runs on the floor, and then they were able to figure it out. And you know, it was awesome. I mean, they ran the NBA. I mean, it was literally a joke. They won 3 straight championships, and then, you know, they start butting heads off the floor. But if I had to think of one single play, I'm not going to think of the 81. I'm not going to think of the Carnival game where they let him shoot his last game of his career. For me, it was about winning and the competitor that he was. It was just, it's one of those things where it's impossible to process. But his fire is something I don't think we'll see the rest of our sports lifetimes just because the world of sports has changed so much.
That fire truly reigniting a franchise, bringing them back to prominence, offering nothing but championships and indelible moments. And as EK so eloquently put it, he was the bridge from Jordan to LeBron in many people's eyes, and he just so beloved by the city of L.A., TD. Is there a more beloved athlete by a given city? I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but the way L.A. loved Kobe, truly hard to put into words.
Well, because he was a Laker for life. You know, I think the conversation, and, you know, it's an unfair debate to get into, right, would be between him and Magic. And that was kind of the moment that I had today. And even though I was a very young child, that I know exactly where I was, sitting in my grandparents' apartment in Astoria, Queens. When Magic's no longer going to play in the NBA, it was like, huh? What? And at that time, we didn't understand, right, HIV, what the AIDS virus was. And he takes the podium, and that just sent shockwaves through the world. As this happened today, that was the exact moment that I have. So it's horribly ironic that's what you think of. At least that was the first thought I thought of. And then you have two guys that wore the Lakers uniform. So many of the Lakers were transplants. Wilt didn't start there. Kareem didn't start there. Shaq didn't start there. Kobe was start to finish. Magic start to finish. And you can't say that about a ton of other, even the Dodgers, they didn't start there. They started in Brooklyn. Like, Kobe started there, and he finished there, and that was important to him, even though there was some rough patches where he asked for a trade, you know, towards the struggles of winning 3 championships and then the Lakers franchise going into a downward spiral there. He did want out, but he stuck it out. It's just crazy to think those are the 2 moments, or at least that was the Magic moment I had today. Just utter disbelief and sadness for Kobe and his family.
Tim, thank you very much. We appreciate your reflections.
Thanks.
CNN is able to tell you now that NBA star Kobe Bryant was on board that helicopter and is now dead at the age of 41. Our Christine Brennan is with us now on the phone. So, there you go. All right, we're able to see you. Christine, tell us what you know and how this confirmation was made.
Fred, this is tragic and terrible news. And as people are hearing this news, now confirmed by CNN and other news organizations, it is hitting them as just one of the most unthinkable things you could have here. CNN has confirmed this news. Kobe Bryant, 41 years old, had retired just a few years ago from the NBA after a stellar career, one of the greatest ever, Hall of Fame. He played only his entire career with one team, the Lakers, and in many ways he was the Los Angeles Lakers. So when you think of Kobe Bryant, it's sports, but it's more than sports. He is
Adrian Wojnarowski, our ESPN NBA insider, joins us now on the phone here. This breaking news coverage of Kobe Bryant dying in a helicopter crash in the Los Angeles area just moments ago. Woj, what's been the reaction that you've gotten from around the league so far?
Michael Zubin, obviously shocked. A lot of people hoping against hope that indeed Kobe Bryant was not on that helicopter, but just shocked. This is one of the iconic figures, not just in the history of the NBA, but in modern professional sports and culture. Kobe transcended the Lakers and the NBA, and this is for a lot of players who grew up idolizing him, peers who he played against. I think within the league itself, there's just shock and obviously great sadness. You know, during his prime, Woj, Kobe was very proud of the fact that, he didn't make a lot of friends around the league because he was trying to be the greatest. And if you're on his team, that's one thing. If you're on the opposing team, that's different. But it seems like the younger generation in the NBA right now looked up to him as much as they did anybody as it relates to the last 15 to 20 years of the NBA. How do you think his effect has translated throughout the NBA? Well, there's no question that Kobe had a tremendous influence on really even more than one generation of young player coming into the league. You remember, he was in the NBA at 17 years old. He died today at 41, and there have been even players, young players now who just caught the tail end of his career who were enamored by him. And I'm already hearing from team executives in the last several minutes telling me, one in particular told me, their star player was devastated, didn't know if he'd be able to play in a game today, and whether the league might make a decision about games. And we're still gathering that information, but this will be, Kobe Bryant was a transcendent figure in this league and as popular of a player that perhaps we've had since Michael Jordan.
It's so well said, Woj. Ramona Shelburne was on the phone with us prior to you coming on, and she said the Mamba mentality that he embodied was well known in China, well known in Africa, and obviously here in the United States. The true devastating part about this, you look at it from a husband and family perspective with his daughters. He said, I'm just starting to live life when he retired from the NBA. I'm going to win an Academy Award. He did. He had so much life left in front of him and wanted to do things outside of basketball. To this point, at the age of 41, with everything he did post-basketball and including his career, how would you sum up the legacy of Kobe Bryant?
Well, certainly he was a player, who came in at a time in the league when the sport was really exploding on television, on the internet, and globally. And I think Kobe Bryant was really one of the first NBA players to become immense around the world. I think he carried that on from the Dream Team group and what they did and what Michael Jordan did. Certainly in China, Kobe has reached, tremendous heights. And there are, young players everywhere in the world who imagined being him, emulated him, his ability to sell sneakers, to market products. And then he started to transcend basketball, as you said, Zubin, in his post-playing career, and was moving on into the media. Into media, he had a great passion for the written word, and and I think most of all, a great passion for his daughters, for his family. You saw him courtside at a lot of games with his daughters, taking them to games, and then coaching their teams, and that was something I know he took great pride in, kind of shepherding them through their academic and then their basketball careers. And
drinking coffee in church parking lot, I heard some noise. Actually helicopter noise. It was very low flying and it was foggy day. You can't tell what kind of helicopter was that, what color. But I see it was very low and struggling the engine. You can see, tell it was not really running right way, you know what I mean? Right. And take 20 seconds, I heard some explosion. When I tore the head, I see there's some smoke coming up, but after 15 seconds, all the sheriff cars start, sirening and go back.
Kobe is invincible, and I just told him, my wife and I just got married on 8/24, for Kobe, literally.
45 years of living, I have not felt this much grief and love for one man that has passed for a city. In my city, he was an idol, he was an icon.
Mamba mentality got me through college, got me through grad school. He did a lot for me, man. Just watching his videos was more than basketball. It was just the mentality to get through life, and he's got me through so many struggles in my life, and it's one of the hardest losses I've ever dealt with, and I've never even met the man, so.
It got louder, and I could hear they were over in this neighborhood, and I had heard a thud, and I didn't know what it was. A neighbor called and said that there was a helicopter that crashed on the hill. Come over to the church and see.
You're looking live at Los Angeles Airport, where the columns have been lit up in Lakers colors, purple and gold, a tribute to Laker legend Kobe Bryant, who we lost tonight with 8 others in a helicopter crash in California.
Like so many, I had the privilege of sitting down with Kobe and had many conversations with him over the years. Now, one of the most meaningful to me was done just a few years ago. It was in Philadelphia. It was when he was about to announce his retirement year, and being with him in that school and sitting down with him and hearing what he wanted to do next. So this very court.
This very court right here.
Wow.
We used to play pickup basketball.
But the thing is, I heard from coaches back then, junior high, and they said, this guy's a pro. When did you know? When did you know?
Probably about my 12th grade year, my senior year. I knew I had things measured pretty well, and I started sizing up the pro competition. What do I need to do to play with the big boys? All the way.
With us now, Michael Wilbon, an ESPN commentator who knew Kobe very well. And Michael, I know that you had a very special relationship with Kobe. Tell us about that.
Well, Robin, like you did, I had a front row seat to Kobe's entire career, from not long after those days at that high school gym you were visiting in Philly, through the final days of his career as a Los Angeles Laker. And it was fascinating to see. I sat down with him. I just looked at it, the last interview we did on camera, talking about what was to come. And you talk about an incomplete answer there. He had so much planned, and he was so passionate about it. He was so engaged. And, people have asked me today, what do you think of first? And the basketball is not what I think of first. I think because when you have that front row seat, it also comes with a pass to sort of get you behind the curtain. And in that case, with the people that you get to interact with for years and years and years, there are personal things. I had a heart attack 12 years ago, this week actually, and when I got out of the hospital and got home, at the front door was an enormous bouquet of flowers, and the note said from Kobe Bryant. And I was trying to figure out, okay, who's playing this practical joke on me? And I called the Lakers, and they confirmed that Kobe had called to ask for my address, and that preceded a complete dressing down of what I needed to do better as I got older, particularly with a son on the way. And we talked about parenthood and fatherhood and health and all the sorts of issues that people don't necessarily see when they're looking at games and post-game interviews. And you're talking about last-second shots and strategies and what went into this and what about this pass and teammates and decision-making. And that was all there. And as I have said today, God knows I loved every performance I saw. And they were performances. I mean, it was like performance theater, and I think that, we can go back to some people, and certainly Magic and Michael had that, and Kobe had it, and you felt it every single time you watched him, that you were watching theater.